Hello, Jefferson. How's it going today?
It's great. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. It's great to meet you.
Oh, great to meet you. Are you kidding? Okay, let's just get down to the nitty gritty here, okay? Yellowstone, seriously. I mean, there's not a person in the world who has not watched, I think, Yellowstone. Can you just tell me why you think this show has struck a chord with the audience?
I think it's beautifully shot. I think we have the most talented cast I've ever worked with. We have the most talented crew I've ever worked with. I think it's one of these shows where everything is firing on all cylinders. It's like so much can be said about our creative team. I think Taylor Sheridan is a genius. I think Taylor Sheridan is one of the best
Yeah.
television writers in history, one of the best writers in history. I think he's incredibly gifted. I think the directors that make our show, our cast, I think our crew is incredible.
Yeah.
Going back to work with the crew that we have every year, everybody who touches this show loves it and cares about it so much. And I think that's reflected in every frame that makes it to air.
Yeah.
And I think people respond to that. I think you can tell that it's a labor of love, you know?
I was going to ask you about Taylor Sheridan before we get into the show a little bit because you look at that man and what he's created over the years. I mean, genius is beyond. Like, what is going through that guy's head? Like, have you ever, you sit down with him and you talk to him and you go, how do I get some of that? Where, you know what I mean?
Believe me, every day I wish I could get a little bit of what Taylor has. And the thing that Taylor has, like, he's a genius. He has incredible talent, but he's also one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
He'll be writing every episode of Yellowstone, and at the same time, he'll be up at 4 a.m, exercising the horses, helping make sure that the animals are taken care of. He cherishes this way of life.
Yeah.
He loves it more than anything. And as hard as he works to make Yellowstone and Mayor of Kingstown and 1883 and all the shows that he's
Everything.
working on, he
Yeah.
works just as hard to take care of the animals that he's responsible for. He works just as hard to take care of his family. That sort of work ethic bleeds into every aspect of his life. And when I look at him, that's what I really want to learn. I want to learn to approach everything with the like seriousness and like joyful rigor with which Taylor approaches it.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Well, yeah, well, like kudos to all of you, of course, but like I said, and Jimmy, your character, I think it's safe for me to say that he's become quite a fan favorite. You got a lot of following out there, my friend. And over the years and how he's progressed and everything he's been through, I just want to know, being in the bunkhouse with so many guys, what is the testosterone level like? Come
It's
on.
it's ridiculous. Have you also noticed that everybody is so buff? Like
Yes.
they cast me
Yeah, I've
as
kind of
this.
noticed. I've kind of
Yeah, have
noticed.
you
Yeah,
noticed?
yeah, yeah.
I've been like, oh, it's wild. Those guys, listen, they're incredibly talented actors. They're the smartest, funniest, sort of most fun group of guys that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. Not to mention, the incredible sort of newer additions to the bunkhouse, Jen Landon, who plays Teeter,
Yes.
Hassie Harrison, who plays Laramie, Eden Brolin, who plays Mia. Like everybody who steps foot in that bunkhouse is such a joy to work with that it makes filming those scenes just so fun. Like those are my favorite days on set when we're all just
Yeah.
around the bunkhouse messing around. But yeah, they're also all extremely physically fit in
Yeah.
a way that has given me a complex,
Oh,
you
please.
know?
You're looking fine, my friend. You're looking fine. Don't
I'm
don't.
trying to catch up. I'm playing
Yeah.
catch up. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen those guys in sleeveless shirts, but I'm playing catch up.
Well, it's okay. Take your time. It's all good. You're in a good place. But when you got this role and you started to play, look, seriously, you must have had to go to a cowboy boot camp. Tell me a little bit about the preparation that goes into these characters, because when as a viewer we look at this and we go, man, that looks so real. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and that also I think is it's a priority of Taylor's. Like Taylor comes from this world, he respects this world so much. He doesn't want to put a bunch of actors from New York City and California on horses and then be
Yeah.
embarrassed when we're sort of bouncing around and making a mockery of this lifestyle. So Taylor takes it incredibly seriously that we approach this with the rigor and respect that it deserves. And to our credit, I don't give us credit for much, but to our credit, we take it very seriously too.
Yeah.
We are, we work very hard, and we have tremendous respect for this lifestyle, for this world that we're stepping into, and this culture. It's a rich culture, and horsemanship. That's something that it takes a lifetime to learn.
Oh,
The
yeah.
guys in our cast, and part of it is that a lot of our guys in our cast grew up in this world. So
Right.
Corey J. Smith, Mo Brings Plenty, Ryan Bingham, Jake Ream. These guys grew up riding, cattle ranching, rodeoing. And the rest of us that didn't, we know, I'm never going to catch up to those guys, but I try to approach it with the seriousness and respect that it deserves,
Yeah. Now, there's been some rumors that we might see Jimmy in a little bit of a spinoff. Okay. Can you give us any scoop or what's going on? Or you have no idea?
Yeah, to be honest, I wish I could give you a scoop. I wish I had some information to withhold. Honestly, at this point, like whatever Taylor comes up with is always much, much better than what I can imagine. And working on any creative project, doing any work in the world is about trust to a certain extent. It's about putting trust in your collaborators, putting trust in everyone you're working with, so you can really do your best job, so you can go out on a limb and be vulnerable, And at this point, I've learned Taylor has earned my trust over and over and over again. And at this point, I've learned wherever the boss wants me, that's where I'll go. Wherever the boss needs me, I'll be there. I'll be happy to be there. So if that's in Montana, I'd be very grateful for that. If it's in Texas, I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Yeah.
Wherever he needs me, I'll be. And I'm really excited to find out where it is,
Yeah, so are we. Okay. So when you get on this set and you realize, like you were saying, how great this cast is, no question about it. But when you have a Kevin Costner on set, veteran Oscar winner, on and on and on. And honestly, when the first season of the show came out, I was like, Kevin Costner doing TV? Okay, cool. Well, it works, What do you, as an actor over the years, what have you, taken from working with that man?
Oh, he's incredible. You're right to describe him as like, he's both a Kevin Costner and also the Kevin Costner. Like, there is nobody like him in the world. I've been very lucky in my career to work with a lot of incredible actors from whom I've learned very much. Something that Kevin has that is an utterly unique gift is he can simultaneously, because he's a filmmaker himself, he's a director himself, and he's lived his life on film sets. He has an incredible intuitive understanding of everything that's happening on a film set, and he can simultaneously make everybody's job easier because he has such a rich understanding of what everybody's job is. So he's simultaneously making the camera operator's job easier, the sound operator's job easier, costumes, make everything. And at the same time, he's incredibly present with you in the scene, which is a real gift. He's a real working actor in a way that is utterly unique. He makes everybody's job easier, and especially the actors that work with him. All you have to do in a scene with Kevin is just try to stay present, try to really be there, because he's gonna make it work,
Yeah, it's great to hear. I've had the opportunity to interview him over the years, and amazing for you. Okay, last question. You also have had the opportunity to host the podcast. How cool has that been for you? And do you have a favorite interview, or what do you love most about doing that?
It's so cool. And to be honest, so much of Yellowstone has been a learning experience for me. So much of I never ridden a horse in my life before Yellowstone. And now I've spent the last 4 years getting bounced around in the saddle. So the podcast is exactly the same way. I'd never interviewed somebody. I'd never hosted a podcast. And so it gives me the opportunity to, when I'm doing things like this, when I'm speaking with you, somebody who's an expert at this, somebody who does this for a living, this gives me the opportunity to sort of keep learning, to learn from you, to take these lessons and then apply them to those conversations, which means that then I get that much more, that much richer an opportunity to learn from those actors that I'm interviewing, those members of our creative team that I'm interviewing. So speaking to Cole Hauser and Kelly Riley about their process, talk about a masterclass, right? As an actor, listening to those two whose work I admire so much, that's an incredible acting masterclass. But then also getting to talk to Corey J. Smith, Mo Brings Plenty, Ryan Bingham about growing up in the West, about growing up on cattle ranches, about growing up in the rodeo. For someone like me who's new to this world, that's an utterly unique, once in a lifetime opportunity to sort of dig in deep with
Mm,
people who grew up in this world and have lived this life their entire lives. And guys like that are what brings the feeling of incredible authenticity to our show, right? It's not
yeah.
me. Like, I hop on a plane from Brooklyn and go to Montana and just like try so hard to fit in. Guys like that are the reason that our show, I think, works, is because Taylor brings in people who know this world, love this world, live in this world every day of their lives, you know?
Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. And, don't come down on yourself so much. You're really, really good on this show. So whether we see you in season 5 or a new series or whatever, we look forward to it. Thank you so much for your time. Season 4 was explosive. So thank you so much. And what a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Bonnie. Great to meet you. What a joy.
Take care.
Appreciate you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now.